Hello, hello, I'm Kads, and welcome to today's video. Well, ask and you shall receive. We manifested the ancient POGO event. That's the story I'm going to go with. But we talked about it a few days ago that, we pulled some ancient shards for the Doorkeep's Path, and now I am relatively closer, a lot closer to Mercy in terms of ancients. And lo and behold, a few days later, there is an ancient POGO event. So we, of course, are going to be participating in that. As per usual, this POGO pull one, get one, for those who don't know, is in the middle of the week. So there is no champion chase and or summon rush accompanying it, so we can skip that part and jump straight into the portal and take a look at the overall shard count my account at the moment, which of course we'll be diving into today. So 502 on the ancients. We're going to be pulling up to 100. We'll take a look at more specifically that when it comes to Mercy. 195 on the void, 66 on the primal, and then 56 on the sacreds. So in terms of the Mercy tracker, where we're currently at is 123 ancients pulled. That means we are 77 shards away from entering Mercy, and then another 20 up to 97 total to guarantee ourselves a legendary proc, meaning that we'll get 2 legendaries for the price of 1. My personal threshold for going for ancient pogos is 120 summons. You can see we're just barely past that, but the logic being that pulling 100 ancients to guarantee myself 2 legendaries gives me a solid rate of about 1 in 50 for getting said legendary. So it's just a good return on the investment of shards overall. But of course, that's predicated on you having proximity to Mercy for one, but also having enough shards to kind of be flexible when it comes to that situation, which of course I'm able to do. And when it comes to my wish list and who I'm hoping will pop out of these shards as the 2 legendaries, the tradition is for POGO events that I go over my top 5 because of course we are guaranteed to get 2 legendaries. So number 1 right now is Glacad of the Meltwater. Lots of perfect veils, increased accuracy, increased defense, increased attack. Great for Hydra. I'd love to have him. A reviver as well. So super solid champion. I'd love to use him to improve my damage profile and resilience relative to Heather Torment. Number 2 would be Molly Tankard. She's kind of fallen a little bit by the wayside in terms of utility, but I'd still like to use her to replace potentially Nekmothar 2 on my account in Hydra. Just the 2-turn provoke is kind of useful, but more importantly, for Faction Wars hard mode, she's a reviver, but also she's CC, and having 2 turns of provoke is an excellent amount of CC. Number 3 would be Martyr. I'd still prefer her over Valkyrie for hard mode Fire Knight stage 10. She's just a little bit better in a shield set with the counterattack and increased defense. She's a little bit tankier, and she just makes really, really solid teams. Faultless defense as well. Makes it really easy to break the shield with a counterattack team. Number 4 would be Freya, Fleet Weaver. Really strong protector champion, a cleanser with the turn meter fill, giant shield, and then of course the passive that grants an instant turn when your allies or your nuker is about to die, which is really, really strong and can improve my flexibility when it comes to dealing with certain things in PvP. And then number 5 is still Eleanoril. Even though I do appreciate having Balar the Lost on my account, he is useful for my dragon speed runs, but I would still prefer to have the more traditional historic poison exploders on my account, just because they work a little bit better for the ideal team that I have envisioned. And when it comes to epics, believe it or not, I am in the market for an epic, a fusion epic. Hilda Ornan daughter, I think that's her name. But yeah, AoE stun on a dwarf, just good again for Faction Wars, a little bit of CC to help out to control some of the waves. And then of course any duplicate epics for empowerment as well. That being said though, there is no 2x going on right now, so I do expect to see a bunch of rares and not that many epics until we get our legendary proc. So without further ado, let's get into the shard pulls here. We've got just enough space, 110 spaces. We've got tons of cash, and hopefully we can get in. Actually, no, we don't really need that good of luck because the result is guaranteed. But maybe, you know what, luck in terms of getting the champions from our wish list. Although it's been a while since I've gotten a champion off the wish list from a POGO event specifically, but we'll see if this one will be the exception here. So Trumbor, Math Champion, Elfrig is notably a Lady Mikage epic. I've heard decent things about him, but turn meter fill, a little bit of healing, but I think primarily you sacrifice him for Mikage, and that is his main use case here. So honestly though, getting 2 epics and a 10 pop is kind of unexpected here with the base rates. Cormac the Hypebeak, terrible champion, terrible epic, unfortunately. Single target nuker-ish, nuker adjacent for the Sylvan Watchers faction. Another double epic or triple epic. Hey, well, look at that. But Gorlas Helma, the quintessential debuffer, the accessible one for Demon Spot. So if you don't have Sissia Flametongue, which most people, including myself, don't have, then he's your guy. Magnar, the best epic HP-based nuker. And then Giscard the Sigiled, a very respectable provoker for the Bannerlords faction, if I'm not mistaken here. So of course we're going all in terms of trying to proc the legendary here, and the worst case is, like we said, up to 97, so roughly 100, 10 pops. But ideally we'd get it before then, but at that point we're just at the mercy of the 0.5% chance to proc a legendary here. So we're expecting to get to mercy, or hoping that we don't, but there is a decent likelihood that we do end up going all the way out to mercy. So Yaga the Insatiable, terrible champion. Cornelia, definitely an underrated champion. I use her still kind of just in my standard cleave team in arena, but the AoE sleep that is contactless is pretty nice. And then also she's useful in like Sand Devil, stuff like that. I know Muckstalker got a lot of love, but she also does a sleep, AoE sleep on a relatively affinity friendly sleep on a 3-turn cooldown. Tagore, everyone's favorite orc reviver, who's kind of not my favorite because I just don't like revivers who can waste their ability when no one's dead. It's just really annoying, and then your revive is on cooldown when everyone dies. It's just really unfortunate, but nonetheless he is a really strong reviver for that faction. Miscreated Monster, still a decent champion. AoE stun, big shield, great for like spider progression and getting through that. Let's keep it going here with the next 10 pop. Is this gonna be the one? Apparently not. Lockwayne, another Mikage epic. I think he's one of the like more important ones, like the higher ones that does not fuse into one of the legendaries for her, but nonetheless that's kind of his purpose, just like Ulfric. Unfortunately, not much to say about him in terms of his individual kit. Moving on to the next 10 pop. I thought we were going to get the all blues. We've avoided it thus far. Negorio, a really serviceable epic nuker for the Shadowkin faction, but that's kind of it. I mean, I think he's maybe like top 10 epic nukers in the game, so let me not undersell his capabilities there. Galcut. Oh, wait, no. Oh, there it is, the double legendary proc, and it is a duplicate King Garog, I think, and then a new champion for me, which is Krokmar the Devourer, which is actually very good because he's a Curse City staple in terms of the AoE on the A1, so another stun set potential champion. So that's pretty awesome. We'll have to double check. I think King Garog is a duplicate, but he might also be new. I don't know if I have him or not. But yeah, Galcut for the bomb trial in hard mode faction wars, Ogren tribes, he's kind of like your most accessible one if you don't have, War Mother and other champions, and then Templar, good for the Relic Keeper. But yeah, King Garog, he has seen a buff somewhat recently. He's definitely more of like the anti-reviver style champion, and I think like if you run this guy with like life harvest on top of his passive, he just gets a lot of speed and turn meter fill whenever enemies are revived, and he also gets increased attack, increased crit damage, which makes it really, really easy for him to put them back in the ground. So he can be super strong in the kind of reviver meta that we're in right now. But nonetheless, he's not necessarily a meta nuker per se, but he could be fun and serviceable. But yeah, AoE attack here, ignores some defense, ignores defense for each buff on the champion, and then ignores some defense here. But it's a quad hitter, and they can reset or reduce the cooldown of the big AoE. By doing so, it has a chance to, and then the stun on chance on the A1. So pretty serviceable nuker. But Krokmar the Devourer is probably the more interesting one, at least in terms of my capabilities and my desires. But yeah, A1 here, it is in a single target attack, but if he crits, which you're going to build him with damage, of course, then it becomes an AoE attack. And again, this is where the stun set kind of comes into play in terms of his utility. He also has another AoE here, places a shield on him as a champion for 2 turns for the damage inflicted, so he can protect himself a little bit. Then he'll heal himself by 10% of the max HP for each critical hit. So you hit a bunch of champions and you crit, you're going to heal yourself a ton and place a shield on yourself. And then of course he has this ability here, increase crit rate, increase crit damage on himself, and then an extra turn, which leads into one or the other of the AoE. So pretty self-sustaining champion in terms of the AoE attacks, kind of like a Nekmothar in that regard. He's always attacking no matter what. And then a somewhat underrated but still important aspect of his kit is that whenever he attacks, he decreases the target's attack or defense by 5%, as well as your accuracy resistance, depending on which stat is the highest. It stacks up to 30%. So when you're just going against waves, again, you just keep hitting them with AoE attacks. You're going to slowly but surely reduce their stats over time. Of course, when this is used against you, it will reset once you get to a next wave or the next round or whatever. But when you're going against enemies, again, you're using a bunch of AoE attacks. You're just constantly making them easier to kill and reducing their capabilities to control or deal with you. So yeah, definitely not who we were looking for in terms of the top 5. I always work with what I get on my account, so we'll definitely take that. I wasn't really keeping track there, but I think we got that in 80 shards. So we saved out, or we saved what, 2 potentially 10 pops there. We'll take it. 20 less ancients potentially pulled there, and yeah, we guaranteed ourselves the 2 legendaries. So let's go. Okay, all right, pop-ups. Holy moly, Jesus. Okay, let's double check on the index. Okay, no, they're both new, double new, 2 new legendaries on my account. Okay, I thought I had King Garog. I was thinking of Robar. That's what it is, because they're both Force Affinity. So no, they're both new champions on my account. So King Garog is new. We'll take that. I don't know if he's gonna do much more. I do have a lot of nukers when it comes to especially with the addition of Krokad, but I have a lot of nukers for orcs. So like I have Nogdar, Varl, Krokad, Robar, Danag. So I don't necessarily, and Jag Bonesaw as well. I don't think I need another nuker for this faction. I think I'm pretty set with Krokad Packmaster combo, but nonetheless, it's nice to have him on the account. And then Krokmar, I don't know if he's really gonna be enough to like carry the faction now as like the primary DPS for the squad. He is HP based, which notably they tend to hit a lot weaker than attack based and defense based nukers, but nonetheless, hey, we'll take him. But I'm thinking definitely Curse City more so than anything else, so this might open up some potential progression in the near term. All right, so that's going to do it for this POGO event. We did manage to get 2 new legendaries, and I did double check my count here, and we did actually hit Mercy there. I didn't really mention that, but that was a shard 203, so we were into hot charge there by the end of it. So that was technically a Mercy proc because we were above 200. So there you go. On that one, we didn't get lucky necessarily in terms of getting it super early, but we did get it before like the worst odds into Mercy, so to speak. Let me know in the comment section down below if you were also participating in this Ancient Pogo event, and of course let me know who you got from your summons, if anyone. As always, if you did enjoy this video, then be sure to hit the like button down below. It really does help out the channel, and also feel free to hit the subscribe button down below as well, if and only if you're enjoying the content overall on this channel for more content just like this one in the future. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.